From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
A violent and deadly weekend across the Circle City, now at 4:30, where the city now stands in terms of homicide numbers. Plus, tonight, Indianapolis City County Council is set to vote on several issues, including IMPD's budget and a proposal that could change how the department is overseen. We're breaking down what those changes could mean for you. And it was a tough day in Cleveland for the Colts. Our Brad Brown breaks down what went wrong. But before we get to our top stories today, I want to thank you for starting your work week with us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey. Todd Clausen is standing by in studio with a check of our forecast for today. And Todd, this morning, fog could be an issue, right?
Yeah, you know, there's a little bit of patchy fog out there, or the potential for some patchy fog, as I noticed not so much visibility issues on my way into work, but the cars that were outside the top of the garbage cans outside of my garage had a little bit of moisture out there. And you can see visibility is reduced in some areas here. It's not a huge widespread problem as of right now, but it's something we'll keep an eye on for you, as there is the potential that those visibilities could get a little lower as we progress throughout the course of the morning commute here. Otherwise, temperatures not bad at all this morning. In fact, it's going to be one of the warmer mornings that we've had this entire week, or we will have this entire week. 63 in the city right now. 57 is the current temperature in Bloomington. There's still some high thin cloud cover trying to back in part of the remnants of Delta that's off to the east, but that's not a player for us today. It's this batch of rain that'll be heading our way later on this evening. So we start off with some clouds. We get into some sunshine by the afternoon hours, with temperatures once again above normal in the 70s, and then those rain showers arrive this evening. More on that coming up for you in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look at traffic right now as you're heading out on the roads. Here's a look near the downtown area, I-65 at West Street and MLK. You can see traffic here very quiet this morning. No issues here to slow you down as you're heading into the downtown area. Of course, we'll continue to keep a close eye on your roads throughout the morning and keep you updated. We begin this morning, though, with some developing news. A violent weekend in the Circle City with at least 5 people shot since noon on Sunday. Just after midnight, 2 people were found shot on the city's northeast side. It happened at 34th Street near Emerson Avenue. Police say both victims were taken to the hospital in stable condition. In a separate incident, another person was shot on the west side along Moeller Road. That victim also stable. Around 10 last night, a person was shot on the east side. It happened at Washington Street near Rural Street. Not a lot of details are known at this time, but we do know the victim was last listed in critical condition. Also developing this morning, more Hoosier lives lost. Indianapolis marked its 186th homicide and 159th intentional homicide in 2020. This after a deadly double shooting on the southwest side of town. That incident happened just before 6:30 Sunday evening at the Stone Ridge Apartments and townhomes on Vega Way, just off Kentucky Avenue. Investigators say when officers arrived, they found 2 people shot. One was pronounced dead at the scene. The other victim was listed in serious condition. Police are still working to figure out what led to that shooting. Sunday night's homicide was the 6th recorded in Indianapolis since Friday night. So here's a look at where everything took place. Around 9:40 Friday night, a man was shot to death and then hit by a driver of a vehicle on North Park Avenue. Minutes later on the west side, a woman was shot and killed in the 1200 block of North King Avenue. And then Saturday night, a Marion County jail inmate was found dead after he was believed to have been assaulted by another inmate. Just after noon on Sunday, a person was stabbed to death in the parking lot of a Subway restaurant on West 38th Street. And around the same time, a woman was shot and killed near the 8400 block of Craig Street in Castleton. Anyone with any information on any of these incidents should call Crime Stoppers. That number is 317-262-TIPS. A major change now in the way Indianapolis Metro Police operate is up for a vote tonight. The City County Council is set to vote on a proposal that would grant unprecedented citizen oversight to the department. As it stands right now, a 3-member General Orders Committee made up of 2 appointees by the Chief of Police and 1 by the officers, writes and oversees the rules of IMPD that the officers must follow. Under the new plan, the mayor and the council would each appoint 2 citizens to the board. The chief would name 2 board members, and the Fraternal Order of Police would nominate 1 member. Supporters of that proposal say it's a step in the right direction.
This is something that we believe would be such a huge step toward just bringing that unity and, as I said before, accountability to our police department and helping the community as well as the police departments that serve those communities work together in ensuring that there's a good relationship and that everything is being looked at from both sides.
So far, 18 out of 25 counselors have signed on as co-sponsors. Also up for a vote tonight, the city's 2021 budget. That includes an additional $7.7 million for the Metropolitan Police Department. The department says the money will be used to hire more officers, additional body cameras and other equipment, and for legal settlements. Over the last several weeks, the council has heard from members of the public who would rather see the money go towards social programs, mental health services, and residents struggling during the pandemic. Look for an update on both votes, both on air and online at WRTV.com. Let's turn now to the continuing impact of the coronavirus pandemic that it's having here on Hoosier lives. Officials report another record-setting number of cases over the weekend. On Saturday, 1,945 cases of COVID-19 were reported. That's the highest number ever recorded. Sunday, that number dropped to 1,579, but still marking the third highest daily total of the pandemic so far. As of this morning, 134,981 Hoosiers have contracted the virus. State health officials also report 7 additional deaths. That brings the total number of Hoosiers who have died with COVID-19 to 3,562. We are continuing to keep a close eye on our hospital preparedness as health officials warn of a possible twindemic with influenza. There's been a slight drop in the number of ICU beds available, as well as the number of available ventilators. At this hour, just over 78% of the state's ventilators are still available for use. Around 4% are being used by COVID patients. 34.4% of the state's ICU beds are still available. Half are being used by non-COVID patients. Around 16% are being used by COVID patients. The pandemic continues to affect the NFL season. Tonight's game between the Denver Broncos and the New England Patriots has been moved due to a positive coronavirus test from the Patriots. The NFL schedule is getting more chaotic by day, with 8 games having to be rescheduled due to positive tests from the Patriots and Tennessee Titans. The Titans have been the center of the league's outbreak, with a total of 24 positive tests dating back to September 24th. That's according to ESPN. Their game scheduled for tomorrow against the Buffalo Bills is now in jeopardy as the team shut down practice facilities Sunday following a new positive test from a staff member. Back here at home, the Colts have not been affected by the shifting schedules so far. The team took on the Cleveland Browns as scheduled on Sunday. A trip to Cleveland used to mean an easy win, but the Colts found out this year's Browns might be the real deal. Brad Brown shows us how a few mistakes ended the Colts' 3-game winning streak.
The Colts and Cleveland each came into Sunday's game with 3-1 records. Both teams would take some chances in the first half. The Colts' first score of the game came on a 4th down run. Jonathan Taylor getting outside, and there's no one there to touch him. Indy took a 7-3 lead midway through the opening quarter. But with Darius Leonard on the sideline with an injury, the Colts' defense looked a bit different. So Cleveland opened up its passing game to attack early and often. Baker Mayfield connected with Kareem Hunt for his first TD. Then it was Mayfield to Rashard Higgins on the next possession. 228 passing yards for the Browns before halftime.
Again, mobile quarterback. You know, you have to be able to keep him in the pocket, coordinate the rush and everything like that with blitzes or, rushing with 4. Obviously, he's a special talent as well at being able to move around in the pocket, find open guys. Again, it's a challenge. We always say it. This is the NFL. Guys get paid just like we do. Some even more for that reason.
Colts trailed 20-10 at the break. Another chance taken in the third quarter would turn into more points for the Browns. Phillip Rivers' pass intercepted by Ronnie Harrison. He would run that back for the score, and suddenly the deficit was 17. But Indy got a much-needed boost from special teams on the kickoff. Isaiah Rodgers making a couple of great moves and getting a couple of great blocks as well. Eventually, it was just a foot race, and Rodgers would win that one for the touchdown, 101 yards in all, and it was back to a 10-point game. The momentum shift continued a couple of plays later. Bobby Okereke, coming off thumb surgery just 6 days earlier, gets his first interception of the season, first of his NFL career. Colts turned that into another field goal and suddenly found themselves down by just 7.
Really just playing more disciplined defense. We knew we wanted to stop the run. We did a decent job of that in the first half, but they were giving us some boots, some deep shots. So we just adjusted to that, tried to get back to playing us. And we thought we started well, just weren't able to finish it out.
A tough break to open the fourth quarter. Rivers, pressured in the end zone, had to throw the ball away. Officials called an intentional grounding penalty, which resulted in a safety. That pushed Cleveland's lead back up to 9. On the next possession, Rivers threw his second interception of the game. Under pressure, the pass over the middle picked off by Sheldon Redwine. The Colts quarterback did not face a ton of pressure on Sunday, but did not fare all that well when it came around.
Little mistakes here and there all throughout the game that kind of the cumulative effect of those is what's keeping us from scoring a bunch of points. Who cares about the stats? Who cares about the stats? There's only one stat that matters, and that's scoring one more point. So we've done enough in the last 3 weeks, but we didn't today.
After an Indy field goal cut the deficit to 6, the Browns were able to close it out with one more big run. Dearness Johnson's 28-yard gainer would help Cleveland seal the deal. A late field goal would make the final margin 32-23. Too many missed opportunities add up to the Colts' first loss since the season opener.
I thought Phillip hung in there well, and in some ways offensively, it was okay. We just can't turn the ball over, and we can't coach and play and spot a team. You can't spot a good team points, and that's essentially what we did.
The last time Cleveland started 4-1 was back in 1994. The Colts will have their next game at home next Sunday when they face the Bengals. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
All right, thank you there, Brad. Tough loss for the boys in blue, but we'll get them next week. All right, it's clear right now across the area with just a little bit of patchy fog, but you see rain on both sides of us. Turn your attention, though, to the rain to the west. That is what's going to be heading our direction as we work our way throughout the course of the afternoon. We'll talk about the timeline and potentially how much rain we could see coming up in your WRTV Storm Team forecast when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on WRTV.
Welcome back. A series of hearings for President Trump's Supreme Court justice get underway this morning, even before Judge Amy Coney Barrett takes the oath before the Senate Judiciary Committee. There's some growing calls to delay the nomination process. The hearing comes just 10 days after 2 Republican members of the Senate Judiciary Committee tested positive for the coronavirus. But this morning, Republicans are vowing to move forward.
I think they are looking for anything to delay things even a day or 2 or 3. And I think that Senate Republicans will follow the guidance, the medical guidance of the Capitol physician. 2
Republican senators have said they're not going to participate in this farce. If 2 more join them, then it's game over.
Well, Judge Barrett's opening statement to the Senate Judiciary Committee was released Sunday ahead of today's hearing. She's expected to focus on her family, faith, and her mentor, the late Justice Antonin Scalia, influencing her opportunity to be nominated to the Supreme Court. Also in Washington, President Trump's doctor says he can end his isolation and return to an active schedule. The White House released a memo from Dr. Sean Conley on Saturday night. Conley says the president has met the CDC's criteria to end quarantine and is no longer considered at risk for spreading the virus to others. However, the memo does not say whether the president has tested negative for the coronavirus since testing positive last week. President Trump is also urging the Commission on the Presidential Debates to put the second debate between him and Democratic candidate Joe Biden back on the schedule. It was supposed to take place on Thursday, but following the president's COVID diagnosis, the commission changed the event to a virtual one, with each candidate scheduled to appear from remote locations. But the president refused to participate, calling a virtual debate, quote, a waste of time, and insisting on an in-person event. Biden's campaign now has booked him for a town hall Thursday with ABC News. According to the White House, the president also plans to hold a town hall that night if an in-person debate is not possible. The time right now is 4:46, turning now to the Gulf Coast, where people are once again picking up the pieces after that area was battered by yet another hurricane. On Sunday, Louisiana reported peak power outages with more than 688,000 residents without power. By Sunday, that number was nearly cut in half, but the outages are not the worst news.
Unfortunately, today we're reporting the first storm-related fatality. That's an 86-year-old man in St. Martin Parish. Passed away from a fire that sparked shortly after refueling a generator that was located in a shed, and we don't believe the generator was allowed to cool down before he refueled it. So I ask you to join me in praying for his family, and that also ask everyone to exercise extreme caution dealing with generators, both where they're placed and how they are refueled.
Meanwhile, 2 injuries in Georgia were reported. The remnants of Delta are now heading east this morning. For more on that and a look at your local forecast, let's go over to WRTV meteorologist Todd Clausen. Hey, Todd.
Yeah, and I'll show you where those remnants are on the East Coast here with your satellite radar picture in just a second. Here in central Indiana, we could have used a little bit of that rainfall from Delta. We did not get it. There are some rain opportunities in our forecast today, but they are not from that tropical system. Here's a view from downtown off to the west, and you can see the visibility extends way off to the west. You can see the lights off in the distance, but you do see a little bit in the way of cloud cover. And as we kind of go throughout the morning hours, there'll be some spots where there's some visibility issues, but one of those places is not in Indianapolis right now. Look at the temperature, not bad at all this morning. You know, we've had a couple chilly mornings. You think as you walk out the door, you're always going to need the coat. You probably don't even need the light jacket this morning with these temperatures that are in place. As far as the visibility, here it's dropped over in Cloverdale to almost next to nothing. Get to Spencer, just over 2 miles, but that's really the only area of patchy fog around. One little area as you work your way up right on the Boone and Hamilton County line there, but that is just about it. Temperatures range from 56 in Greencastle right now to 57 in Tipton, as well as Peru. 60 is the current temperature in Richmond. So this morning we have the visibility issues in some spots. We have a little bit of cloud cover that continues to build in. So it's not going to be the brightest morning for us by any means across the area, but we'll burn some of that fog off. We'll get into some sunshine, only for this batch of rain off to our west to make its way through the area later on this afternoon. There are the remnants from Delta, from New York to Philadelphia down into Washington, D.C., bringing some rain to that area. But watch what happens in our forecast. We get rid of some of this cloud cover. We break into some sunshine. Then this front will come through, and the timing is probably 3 o'clock in western locations, and then it progresses to the east as we work our way throughout the evening hours. So this evening, there will be some scattered showers around. I think it probably looks a little bit worse on TrueCast than it'll actually be. I think it goes through your neighborhood very, very quickly. But nonetheless, it is an opportunity for some rainfall across the area, rainfall that we desperately need. We've only had a trace of rain for this entire month so far, and here we are 12 days now into this month of October. Morning clouds, temperatures in the 60s, some sunshine this afternoon, and then the rain showers move in with temperatures that will be in the 70s. This evening, we fall back down into the 50s, and then for the day tomorrow, we're looking at a beautiful day, mostly sunny skies, still warm with temperatures climbing into the mid to upper 70s across the area. The second half of your 7-day planning forecast, though, much, much cooler with lows in the 30s and high temperatures, Lauren, that'll only be in the 50s. The cold front on Thursday obviously going to be a lot stronger, and also another opportunity for some showers to move through.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out on the roads this morning. Here's a live look at I-865 near Cooper Road. You can see here on the northwest side, everything is traveling up to speed, so that is good news. So whether you're on the northwest side of Marion County, maybe you're in Boone County heading into Indianapolis, you shouldn't have any issues at this early hour. So Facebook is launching a 3-month campaign to support small businesses. It kicks off with the Buy Black Friday initiative to help struggling Black-owned businesses, and it includes resources for Black business leaders. It also encourages people to share posts supporting these businesses, as well as a weekly show featuring owners, entertainers, and artists. This summer, Facebook announced a $100 million program to help support Black communities and a $40 million grant program specifically for Black-owned businesses. The new Buy Black Friday campaign runs from October 30th through November 27th. Well, the challenges of the pandemic have led to more people needing cash quick. So more companies are offering pay advance apps to their employees. They allow people to get small cash advances if they need to cover a bill, avoid paying a higher late fee, or have an emergency. The apps are cheaper than typical payday loans or check cash lending. But if you use them frequently, the costs can really add up over time. A consumer watchdog says as a solution, employers could leverage lesser fees for their workers. Feeding hungry Hoosiers just after the break, how one organization is working to make sure that those in need have food on their tables. And coming up in the next half hour, a program aimed at empowering African American youth in our community is adjusting how they're serving families during this pandemic. How the Center for Leadership Development is working to meet students' needs safely. It's 4:52. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. A growing issue in this pandemic is an increasing number of people dealing with food insecurity. That's why an organization is working to help those who are hungry in the Hoosier State. The nonprofit Million Meal Movement is working to help those in need. They're preparing to package 1 million meals for their annual marathon. In years past, the packaging is done by hundreds of volunteers all in one day, but due to the pandemic and the need to social distance, they'll be packaging 1 million meals throughout an entire month, starting tomorrow, October 13th, running through November 7th. Organizers say they've adjusted how they do things to ensure that their volunteers are safe.
So our packing lines are set up to where everyone is 6 to 8 feet apart. And instead of passing a bag from one person to the next, we now pass a tray of bags. And that is allowing everyone to be able to continue to still pack the same number of meals, but in a safe way.
So if you'd like to volunteer or help with the Million Meals event, you can go to millionmeals.org. All right, Todd, it is a brand new work week. We had a beautiful weekend in the weather department. Wow, what can we expect for this Monday?
Yeah, you know, temperatures have been running well above normal. It'll continue to be a couple degrees above normal the next few days, but then you see the big change. So there will be the chance of some scattered showers with the first cold front later on this afternoon. They should all be very, very light. A little better chance of some scattered showers on Thursday, but it's that front on Thursday that drops the temperatures big time as we head into Friday and Saturday with high temperatures that will eventually only be in the mid-50s. We'll break down this forecast for you in more detail. Have your latest news headlines as well coming up when Raphael joins Lauren and I at the top of the hour. Stay with us. We'll be right back.